The abstract sensing energy circuit means that we're a species driven by desire. And the desire is the drive to have experiences, to experience the world that we are in. And not only to participate in experiences ourselves, but to also seek out those experiences through others. So the abstract sensing family, at its core, is the energy to share impersonally the process of experience. If you listen to most human conversations, there's always this probing going on in the conversation. Did you watch this on TV last night? Did you go out last night? What did you do yesterday? How was that holiday? It's built into us and our everyday experience to find out about others and their experiences. And it brings us an enormous advantage to us as a species. Because in collecting our experiences and then having this mechanism of language where we can record experiences as history, as stories, as literature, well, it gives every new generation of our human species a tremendous advantage. Because any new human form has access to the collected history of our species since the beginning, and thus every succeeding generation always has a head start, and then they push the experiential realm forwards for the next generation. So we are the only species where our young do not have to start from scratch every time. Learning about basic survival techniques that's already laid down. So this abstract sensing ability that we have to collect our experience and to be driven to have experiences is absolutely essential for us as a species. So this experiential abstract process is purely human, and it's very exciting. It's driven by emotional desire. It's very unstable because of the format process of cycles, beginnings, middles and ends to every process, the ups and the downs of the crash wave of the abstract, and thus it can be quite dangerous. Because there is a lack of awareness with this desire driving the underlying process, which is emotional in nature and thus volatile. And all of this is impersonal. We're driven to have experiences and to seek out those experiences, but it's not about the other person, it's about the experience that you're having with the other person. I want to play tennis, and I can only play tennis if there's somebody on the other side of the court. Who that other person is irrelevant. I want to play tennis. And this stream of desire runs from the root all of the way through the emotional center up through its manifestation into the throat. So the beginning of this process is the 41st gate. This is the only start or initiating codon in our genetic matrix. It's the gate of fantasy, it's the hunger, the desire for experience, and thus all human experience begins or is initiated by this fantasy. And this fantasy is in the root down here, so this is a fantasy that's driven by an underlying pressure. Maybe the fantasy is to go hang gliding, for example, and that becomes a pressure to actually have the experience and to go hang gliding. So it's this fantasizing about the possibility of having that experience that leads to the need, the drive, and of course that drive is desire, the desire to have the experience. And that's why we call this entire stream the stream of desire. So there's a constant drive here of pressure that's pushing us all of the time. It never goes away. It's like trying to ride a bicycle up a steep hill. The pressure is what sustains us to be able to get up that hill. And this stream of desire that's initiated in the 41st gate, well, if it just was the 41st gate, we would all be sitting around fantasizing about going up the hill, but we wouldn't actually get up the hill. You would be stuck on your bicycle at the bottom, fantasizing about being at the top. But there's no real longing at this stage to ensure that that happens. But the moment the next step in this stream of desire happens, which is the 30th gate, well, this is the moment you get into the emotional system, and this 30th gate, the clinging fire, is this gate of feelings. And when you get to this gate of feeling, what occurs is that experiential fantasy has now become emotionalized, and it's connected to the abstract emotional wave process. So the 30 creates a longing for that experience, so it becomes a kind of emotionalized plateau, because there's no way to manifest directly from the 30th gate. So this fantasy of the 41 has now become a feeling, and you're going to stay with that feeling until there's a natural outlet for it. And this is where the 36 comes in. It's the need to penetrate an experience. It's the gate of inexperience. I've never been hang gliding before, but I really want to do it. How can I do that? This is why it's the gate of crisis, because it's an overwhelming need to have the experience, to get into that experience. But we're still in the emotional system here. We're still in the plateau of the up and down of the emotional wave without necessarily having the outlet yet for the experience. And this is where the 35 comes in, the manifested potential of desire. The moment the 35 comes along, there is an opportunity for consummation of experience. That's the moment the experience can be there. Oh, there's a hang gliding school I found on the internet. I'm going there to try my desire to hang glide. But this is a very ephemeral energy, because the moment the 35 brings the experience and you have the experience, there's no permanent satiation with the abstract family. If we could be satiated in experience, well, we would stop having new experiences. We would just hang on to the feeling of the current experience. So the 35th gate is the gate of being full, but it's also the gate of crashing down in the wave. Oh, I've done this before. Oh, I've been there. I've done that, says the 35. I'm full. I'm not doing that again. So the 41 is the gate of hunger, driving the need for experience. The 35 is the gate of being full. I've had that experience. I don't want it again. But suddenly the 35 always has the possibility of emptying out, and then the desire for a new experience emerges. This is what creates this lack of permanent satiation in terms of the abstract sensing family. So this is energy that's like a mouse on a wheel, perpetually turning. Fantasy leading to the desire, leading to the longing, leading to the investigation of where is this experience, leading to the actual experience at the 35. And of course, this is all emotionalized. This is a hope and pain wave. The hope side of it is, oh, I wish this could happen. I wish I could do this. It's full of that excitement and desire. And at other moments when the emotional wave is down, well, we can be deeply disturbed by the possibility of having that experience. Oh, maybe I'll fall off that hang glider and come crashing down. Oh, I can't do that. I can't get insurance that will cover me for that. I can't risk my family, and on and on and on. So there's always this continual hope and pain cycle going on in terms of the fantasy and the experience. And of course, it's cyclical. It's driven by the format of the 53 to the 42, the pressure to begin something new, the pressure not only to begin something new, but to go through the entire process of that and actually complete the entire cycle of experience. I've started my hang gliding training and I've gone right through, and now I'm allowed to jump off that hill on my own. I've completed the experience. And it's not just that we're driven to have these experiences, we're a very, in a way, voyeuristic species. We want to hear about other people's experiences, and this is where the prodigal channel comes in, the 13 and the 33. It's so that we can codify and express that experience so others can learn about the process through this sharing. And it means that I don't necessarily have to go hang gliding if I can learn about it through your experience or watch you have that experience on YouTube, for example. But the rest of this circuit is of no value unless there's this stream of desire there first, the hunger, the people driven to get out there and have these experiences. This is the energy that drove us to truly populate the entire planet. What's over that next hill? Ooh, what's in that valley down there? All this lovely looking red fungus in the forest. That looks delicious, said an early caveman, until they licked it out of desire for a new flavour and promptly dropped dead. Well, we learn from that experience. Don't lick red toadstools. This is why it's a very dangerous family as well, because the desire is not driven by any kind of awareness apart from the blunt edge of this up and down emotional crash wave.